What's up, mofos? I've been playing Captain America a month now. Been doing a weekly build update. If anyone has been following the channel for a month or even longer, thank you. Appreciate your support. Let's get into it. Alright, so I made some big changes to my some of my builds. We've had invasion since the last video, and yeah, I've gotten my traits up a little more. I'm just gonna start with the traits. I think that's the simplest and applies to all the builds that I run. I got my trait tree, my spec tree pretty much filled out. I really don't, again, I don't care at all about the supervillain damage decrease. It's, yeah, that's gonna be maybe something I do just because I don't like the little red dots. These are my active traits. I know in my last video, I I said Vanguard was good. I still I have mixed feelings. I feel a lot offensively stronger when I run Vanguard. There is a noticeable difference. Having said that, I'm not running Vanguard currently. I was up until Sunday. I was talking to some other caps that I shared notes with. They told me about how great, and everyone I've talked to that has tried battle prep has told me it's great. It's great. It's great. I was not impressed by the max defense rate of 20%. It just seemed like something that wasn't wasn't going to proc a lot. Everyone said it's great. I don't know. It procs a lot. Don't know why. Don't know. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they stealth nerf it in the future. The actual proc rate, but it procs, pretty well. It's great. It's just it's great. It's a very sizable damage reduction. It's it's just overall, it's a fun skill. It it makes it makes you so tanky. That combined with charisma is a no-brainer. You have to take charisma. It's the damage, yeah, decreased damage received by 18%. You know, Cap doesn't have a lot of damage mitigation outside of charisma and uh, this new one. All right, he finally, they finally changed his untargetable so that he's untargetable for the whole movement, which is really great. Um, I like that, but then his only other mitigation effects are a 2 second long silence, which, in effect acts like a, 2 second long untargetable. And he's got the two provokes, which reduce incoming damage. Uh, you know, so he still takes, 50% damage in the provoke skills. It's just it's nice. You need these to. This is what makes you feel like a tank. charisma. This makes you feel like a tank on steroids. Now, you notice Vanguard is sitting on the bench. Why? Because I have my level 10 spot weakness. I get 30% damage increase on any bleeding target. Cap has a few bleed traits. In addition, Yandu, the companion, provides bleed. It's pretty easy to get that 30% damage increase. Alright. The other one I run, and I swear by this. You know, I can show the math to anyone that is curious, but bravery increases damage of the first skill used within 6 seconds after using hand-to-hand combat class skill. By when it's maxed, it'll be 30%. Alright. A lot of people, a lot of caps, a lot of really good caps don't seem to run this skill. Why do I run it? I believe I mentioned it before. 30% and 30%. Those aren't added together. You don't, it's not plus 60% increase. No, it's 30% times 30%. 69%. Alright. I get almost as much. It's only 6% lower. I get almost as much damage increase here that, you know, I would by maxing PvP increase. I get almost as much as I would by, believe it or not, by maxing crit against someone that's at the max crit damage decrease. We'll go over that a little bit later. I want that multiplier. Like that 69% of these, you know, I say 69 assuming or when this is up to 30%. 30% times 30% is 69%. But yeah, that multiplier also multiplies every other multiplier. That multiplies my crit rate. That multiplies my total damage. Like all those multipliers, that multiplies my skill damage. All those multipliers all multiply together. Yeah, so I see a lot more damage from here than I do if I, okay, even, you know, oh, converts when I max it 30% of defense into attack. Oh, well, that's 30% more attack. I mean, okay, it's more attack, but that's just your base stat. This is not a multiplier. Like, I mean, this adds to your base attack. It doesn't increase attack by 30%. If that makes sense. I could do the math, but I think I lost a lot of people the last time I tried to do a math video. Alright, let's swap up to the skill. Alright, so my skill builds are very similar. I got my build A, build C. They are both very similar, so I'm just going to run down them real quick. these didn't change much. You might recognize this from the last video. I run this versus Doctor Strange, versus Iron Man, versus anyone that's higher damage. It helps to get that. It helps to get that silence, that little 2 second. It's I you almost have to think of it as an untargetable. This, you get 2 seconds that they can't hit you. It's very helpful. It's very versatile. The 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 biggest benefit of this attack is the enemy has their buffs removed. That's crucial versus Doctor Strange. You know, Doctor Strange, he gets a lot of, I don't know, for as hard a time as Doctor Strange has, he almost seems like he can auto Captain America because of some of the buffs he can stack. You need to be able to remove those buffs. The silence is good versus Iron Man. It can remove some of that cooldown buff he gets. It's just, it's a versatile skill. It's helpful in a lot of situations, especially with that silence added to it. Now, when I run versus Spider-Man, I run the shield impact here. It's more damage. I love that provoke. I love being able to pin someone down. You know, it's great versus, you know, okay, Spider-Man's trying to run away. I can pin him down, and as long as he doesn't run out of range, I can still bash him for a good bit of damage. Let's see, other skills. I give the rundown. I have been running a lot more of the go the distance rather than forefront. Go the distance. It's a lower cooldown. It does decent amount of damage. Okay, I might miss the kick at the end sometimes, but compared to, alright, this one does more damage, but half the damage I believe is on the one dash, half the damage is on the other. It doesn't always hit. I find that they last, like the untargetable part is about the same amount of time. So because this has lower cooldown, I'm untargetable a little longer, and okay, the higher guard break helps a little bit. Second skill, hand to hand. Now, don't ask me why I run the higher cooldown skill. I just like the animation. It does track a little bit better, in my opinion. I just love that animation, and it's a decent amount of damage. If I'm hitting like a bleeding target, it's a nice little pop. Yeah, we already talked about the third skill. You're either running the silenced or the shield impact, the neutralization or the shield impact. They're both good tools. They're both, you know, useful versus different champs. I love them both. I love shield impact more, but you gotta be able to remove buffs sometimes. Now, this is the biggest change. I am running the heal on both of my main builds. Why? This heal makes Hulk my best friend. Not talking about my Hulk. I'm talking about enemy hawks. Because guess what? I am not going to sit under an enemy hawk and try to engage an enemy. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to run away with my speed to the other side of the arena, and I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait till the enemy decides to come and fight me. They're going to come and fight me on the ground of my choosing, and I'm going to be ready. This little, it's just to try to sit and fight right under Hawk. It's just stupid. It's suicidal. I'm not doing it. The last skill I run this. This is right now my only source of bleed in my skills. Does decent damage. I get plus 14. I I like it. It's got a pretty decent range. Pretty much anything inside that red circle will get the bleed. So it's decent. Even if I don't land 100% on an enemy. Some honorable mentions. I'm not running Sharp Shield. I'm not running the double guard damage versus flying enemies. Why? Because I would have to take out my hand-to-hand damage to do it. Or I would have to take something else out. I'm not taking out, a 90. I'm not taking out my main damage skill. I'm not taking out, to add a, faster cooldown bleed skill. Alright, but I'll stack, my shield absorption faster if I run 2 shield absorption skills, right? Yeah, that's true, but I can get a 30% increase and then run with my hand to hand and then run my vibranium release skill anyway. And guess what? I get a 30% multiplier. I'm not losing out by I get basically the same bonus damage every other almost every other attack when I run this hand to hand. The other honorable mention, this skill is the most damage Cap can do. I like this skill. I've used this skill. It's a little bit harder to land than the bleed, but it's worth it for the more damage. I could definitely, I would run it if I could carry another bleed skill. Before the buff to the untargetable, I was running the shield instead of the untargetable. Now that untargetable is actually worth something, it helps. I run that. I need to run this for my bleed, so I sacrifice 1,000 double damage. I do get this on cooldown a little better, so I do sacrifice some damage by not running this. It is what it is. Hard choices. I had to make the choice. Yeah. So, like I said, skill or preset C. It's all the same skills except for, again, the shield smash instead of the silence. Skill B, I'm really still playing around with. You'll probably recognize this is I got the dash. I got the hand to hand. I got the silence. got the provoke, and I got the big damage. Why? I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty shameless ripoff of Reverie's build, except for he runs this shield slice instead of the hand to hand. Gives him a little more utility. He also runs Yondu as companion, which, guess what? I'm also running Yondu as companion with this build. I don't run this build, and for PvP, I'll show why. For PvE, I swap the shield change strike in for the provoke, because guess what? I don't need the provoke in PvE. Oh, speaking of PvE, if I'm running PvE, I want to swap in Vanguard, get that extra damage, and need. I can't emphasize it enough. You need passion for PvE. That will let you. It goes a long way. I will swap these two in for the two damage decrease skills. Oops. I didn't mean to do that right now. Yeah, for PvE, yeah, I'll put these two in for these two. Alright, video's getting kind of long. I'll show you my stats real quick. Oh, yeah, companions. Companion for A, Volstagg. Companion for build C, also Volstagg. Why? Let me go through real quick. Look at my stats. Alright, 247 per K health. I can run that as 250. I don't. Here's why. It's a special badge. I get a little bit. It's actually, believe it or not, like 1% more cooldown decrease. A little bit of stamina recovery and health points. When I get this badge maxed, which who knows when that'll be because Magneto event is over, I will be at the same. I'm gonna get at least 3,000 more HP out of it. So, in the long run, this is gonna pay off. I do like this. I got 2 HP rolls. I like that. Obviously, I get the badge special effects, increase skill damage by 7%, increase attack by 3.5%, and obviously that scales as you level the badge up. Alright, notice I'm 1.9 mil without Vanguard. If I equip Vanguard, it's gonna boost my attack up. It'd be like 2.1 ish, 2.1 mil-ish. High HP, decent the HP recovery all comes from Cap's potentials. It's nice, it's helpful. What do I got? My accuracy rate is decent. This is without running an accuracy card. I really like it. It's good for everyone except for Spider-Man. It's a little bit low to try to fight Spider-Man with. It hurts. My last video I talked about, they upped the crit damage decrease cap. As such, fighting against an opponent with max crit damage decrease, max crit rate, max crit damage together become an effective 75% multiplier. What's the math on that, you might ask? Alright, 200% crit damage decrease is max. 300% crit damage is max. You subtract 200% from the 300%, you have a 100% multiplier. That applies at a max 75% rate. So you have an effective 75% multiplier. It'll multiply by 100% 75% of the time. That's a lot of stacking for 75% multiplier. So, I was really curious about maxing crit damage decrease. I think the math on it is that it can be done. To do it without sacrificing other stats, it will take good shield rolls. I only have 2 crit damage decrease shield rolls. I had 4 when I went to cap, but I actually pulled another shield with these stats, and I thought the guard damage decrease would be really great. And it is, but I don't think guard break is that generally that detrimental. It's, okay, it hurts a little bit, but it just, regenerates again. It's like a little, it's a little stun. Alright, I don't build to break it. But I am capped on guard damage decrease right now. I would like to trade that into crit damage decrease. I did go with this shield when I went to cap because I was already at the crit damage cap. I thought my line of thinking was I would rather have guard damage and crit damage capped than just be over cap on crit damage decrease. Let's see, defense pierce obviously maxed. You want that maxed. Cooldown decrease, it's nothing to write home about, but decent. Total damage, I'm trying to stack that where I can. I am experimentally sacrificing some PvP damage to allow the crit damage stack. Ultimately, I want to re-roll my shield and get the crit damage decrease cap that way. But I'm not there yet. I'm not spending millions to make it happen faster. It'll happen when it happens. I got stuff to do. PvP damage decrease. This is really important. You want to have that capped so you're not taking, you want to minimize the damage you take. Guard damage, obviously fairly low. Guard damage decrease, obviously right now capped. Status effect resistance, fairly low. Status effect accuracy. I got the 20 roll on my helmet. I'll show my helmet in a second because I think I did re-roll that. Got 30%. That's nice because the silence, the provoke, and the bleed are all status effect. If I have seen provoke get straight up resisted, it can happen. Spider-Man can. I swear Spider-Man dodged a provoke earlier today. It might have been something else. Might have been seeing things. I swear he dodged a provoke. I didn't think you could do that I might be wrong. I'll check on that. I'll confirm one way or the other. But I know for a fact that dodge can be resisted, or not dodge. Provoke. I know for a fact provoke can be resisted. The other elements of my build that make me really tanky: range damage and melee damage decrease. It's it's pretty nice. So I got my 75% PvP damage decrease, and then I get an additional, decrease from either ranged or melee, and then I get the additional decrease of 18% from charisma for every damage coming in, and then 20% of the time I get the 30% reduction from battle prep. Let's see. So this is build A, build C. I've got very similar stats, except my accuracy rate, I've got it capped. I really don't need it capped, but that's what it is. I got my PvP damage all but maxed. My PvP damage decrease all but maxed. This is my crit damage decrease on this build is lower. It's still around 100. This is primarily my build for dealing with Spider-Man. I need that accuracy. I don't need quite as much tankiness from the crit damage decrease because, in general, Spider-Man, all but like probably the top 3 Spider-Men in the game, just don't have the stats to do a lot of damage. I can, while he's off running away, I can heal. While he's hiding behind Hulk, I can heal. I'll show real quick the third build, the skills. I showed the skills. Third build, stats. I went the other way with this. This is primarily my PvE build. Max crit rate, max crit damage. It's fairly easy to build. Ideally, instead of PvP damage and PvP damage decrease that don't help at all in PvE, I would like to get my supervillain damage and or supervillain damage decrease. I would like to get that up. I'm not there yet. Eventually, sure. That's all card rolls. My defense pierce not as high. It's not as big a deal versus villains and super villains. They don't have incredibly high defense stats, so defense pierce isn't as helpful there. I am interested. I would like to be able to run this much crit rate and damage with my PvP damage higher and my defense pierce maxed, but I can't. Like, I need to make up for my crit rate rolls by having this many red slots, and as a result, I've also got my green slots are all crit damage. Now, what will help with that? I would like to roll this to more defense pierce. That's going to increase, obviously, my defense pierce for this build. It will also help the other builds because I won't need to run as many green spots. I can run more health and more defense, which is going to make me even more tanky. But yeah, rolling my head again. I think I did roll this since the last uh, video. I would like to, and I've got a spare head. I'm gonna roll this until I get stats I want. This is fine for now. The shield is my priority. Yeah, I'll show real quick. Sitting second in arena for the time being. 89% win rate. I did. Now, I'm just gonna preface by saying the first fights in arena, if you're anywhere big built, those are gonna be in general easier fights. Yeah, you'll run into high level, arena guys climbing at the beginning too. It can happen. But in general, it's going to be easier matchups when you're first climbing than late, when you get to higher tiers. But I am saying I ran these traits, I ran this build yesterday, Sunday, the late game. Talking 1,900 points plus. I got up to 2,100 points Sunday. I finished third with these traits, with these builds. I only lost to, I think it was 2 different people on Sunday. Granted, I lost to 2 different people today, but I was playing where I was at. I was on data signal. It wasn't it wasn't a really great signal, and yeah, I also misplayed. I got caught by a hawk. Just bad stuff. I fought a Spider-Man with my build A, which he just dodged a lot of stuff. I really like build C to fight against Spider-Man. Shout out to Spider-Man named Chapter 2099. He handed me 2 of my L's today. He's I'd say one of the better Spider-Man I've fought. There are definitely some good Spider-Men in this game. No offense to any of them that I haven't named. Chapter 2099 did get me twice. The other loss was to a random Black Widow. I forget what happened there, but it's in the video I posted earlier. It's a name I didn't recognize. I think they just put up. It ended. They just had more health. Something like I walked into an alt or walked into just a high damage skill. Anyway, yeah. If anyone's got any questions or whatever, hit me in the comments. Peace.